Hey, what's up, everybody? BDL44 coming at you with another video. All right, so we got a Woj bomb on Kyrie Irving's intentions. If they're not able to reach a max deal, it appears he's willing to opt in, which is expected. And from there, he has a list of teams that have been reported: the Lakers, Knicks, Clippers, Mavericks, Sixers, and I believe it was one more team. So that is what we're looking at. Basically, Kyrie Irving has more or less decided that opting is probably the move for him rather than taking $5 million to play for the Lakers because, quite honestly, that's too much of a sacrifice. That's just too much of a sacrifice. I would appreciate someone making that sacrifice, but I don't necessarily think it should be Kyrie Irving. It should be a combination of all three of the guys involved. But there are a million ways to skin a cat if that's what they wanted to do. So I would imagine at this point now, you just wait to see if he's going to wait till the 28th to sign that. I think, or whatever the date would be. I think it is the 28th, but I'm not certain. Whatever the date would be for him to make that decision, I'm pretty sure he's going to exhaust every one of those days before opting in if he opts to. And then from there, we'll see what trade can come about. I personally think that in situations like this, history has told us the deal is already done. Wherever he's going to go, it's already done. And judging by the reports of him meeting, not him meeting, but with the Nets and the Lakers having backdoor meetings reported that date back 2 weeks ago, I would imagine that is what to expect. If you read the tea leaves and you look at the history of how the NBA operates, do they bluff a lot about people going to the Lakers? Yes. Do they bluff a lot about people going to play with LeBron James? Not really. Do they bluff about people going to play with LeBron James and the Lakers? Nah. The last couple times they said somebody was coming to play with LeBron James, the Lakers, they came. Russell Westbrook, Anthony Davis, Carmelo Anthony, Kyrie Irving. I don't think they're playing. I don't think this is a game at all. I do wonder what's going on in regards to KD and Kyrie, but that's their business. They're friends. They'll figure it out. But I'm just curious as a fan how that whole situation looks minus the narratives of the other media, because I don't think it's that difficult of a situation, because anybody that can see their situation knows that Nets situation is looking like it looks bleak for this upcoming season, and they don't have a lot of seasons to waste. Whether they want to play with one another or apart, I don't think it's the best situation for them, either one of them, to play this upcoming season with the Brooklyn Nets. I don't like the Ben Simmons situation at all. That's what it really comes down to. I do like Ben Simmons for the Nets though, which is why I'm like, all right, this something has to give. They can start over with Ben Simmons and bring him all the pieces they need by trading away the two guys, KD and Kyrie. That's what I think the Nets should actually do. I know for a fact that they're against giving him a 5-year, 200, whatever the max would be, because I think most people would be not unwilling to do that. However, him opting in and them trading him to a place where they can get some equity for him or something that they would like for him is reasonable. So I think that's what they're going to do. Normally, I would say they're just going to trade him to wherever they can get the best package. And he's giving them a list of teams, so it's one of those teams. So that could very well be exactly what we're here to see. But with all this stuff going on with him reaching out to Bron, man, that's all it takes. If Bron wants Kyrie on his team, I think Kyrie will be here. I think history has shown us it's really that simple. It really is that simple. So we'll see if that's how the history tells this particular story. I do like Kyrie for the Lakers too. That's another reason why I think this is happening, because if I'm to deduce who can put up with Kyrie Irving's inconsistency, it's us. It's the Lakers. It's not the Clippers. It's not the Knicks. It's not any of those teams that he listed. It ain't the Sixers. None of those teams are going to give him the wiggle room to be himself more so than us. Nobody. I think that also he's in a great position to have a proven championship situation. Obviously, with LeBron James has already said many times. And of course the Kobe Bryant factor, it plays a big part into this as well. I think he puts on this uniform with a certain sense of pride and a certain intent on proving himself worthy of doing so, which he understands it ain't as simple as just playing ball. You got to play at a certain level and you got to win here. So if he's up for that challenge, which I do believe he is, for many reasons, but ultimately just no more than to see where he stands amongst the Lakers. When he gets here, he wants to be able to have, said he put on the uniform just like anybody else who's ever wanted to do so. So I think that with the role that he's going to have next to LeBron James and the path that we have to winning championships with him and AD, I think it's reasonable to think that he would see a nice legacy era for him in Los Angeles ahead if he were to choose us. Probably a better era than he would get with the Knicks or maybe some of the other teams that he has listed. So I think this is one of the better situations, if not the best situation for him on his list. For all the things in the situation, not really having basketball be the first thing in mind in regards to that, in terms of basketball fit. I'm thinking more so about everything else. I think this is a good place for him to display his talents and get the attention on him that he chose to receive going to a market like New York. You don't have to lose that energy. So that's also another reason to do it. And look, he put the Clippers on the list, but I don't think he'd be happy with the Clippers for a multitude of reasons. I made a video about how he would have to be a facilitator, I think, or facilitation by committee, which I don't think works at all. And I also don't think that you would get the full experience of being in Los Angeles because nobody's rooting for you if you play for the Clippers. Well, you have their fans, but most of their fans are not in LA. We don't. Here in LA, we like the Lakers. We love the Lakers, and that's how we roll. So I don't think you get the real experience. You go to a Dodger game, you're getting booed. You go to a Kings game, it's hockey, you're getting booed. It's not. I would advise all basketball players to consider the truth about the Clippers in regards to the type of support that you should expect when you get here. Yes, they have their fans. They will pack the arena for sure. But from day to day to day to day, you're gonna understand that you are not home when you play for the Clippers. You ain't home. You are a player without a home when you play for that franchise. And I just wish Steve Ballmer would agree with me so he would move that team somewhere else. I really believe that. I'm really on that. I think it would be best for his franchise. I think it would be best for another city to have his team there. Maybe not best for his pocketbook in regards to leaving the LA market, but I think he's one of the richest people in the world. So if anybody doesn't have to worry about that, it's him. But the support of the city, it's something to be said for having the support of the city. It's one of the best things about sports is the fact that you have a whole town or a whole college area or whatever it is behind you. And when you put on the Clipper uniform, you don't have that. That's just what I believe. That's what I've seen my whole life living here. You don't have that. You got a couple fans, but the majority of us are looking at you like you're a knob in our city who just so happens to have Los Angeles on your chest. So I don't know if that kind of stuff matters to you. I think it would matter to Kyrie. I do. I don't think he would like that. I don't think he would enjoy that experience. It's not for everybody. You come to LA, you come to be a Laker. Period. And that's just how I see it. So I think he knows what he wants to do, though. I think he would make a hell of a legacy on either one of those situations. I think he would have plenty of fans if he was a Clipper. I think he would sell out Crypto.com Arena either way. So I don't question that. And the Clippers would definitely contend. I'm not sitting here saying they wouldn't put together a very good team. But that's not. You don't come to LA to get booed. Period. And I'm gonna stand by that. So yeah, I think Kyrie's the Dallas Maverick situation is intriguing because him and Luka Doncic aren't the most seamless fit. So I'm curious to know why the Mavericks are on his list. Just very curious. I don't see the fit there. I know that they had Jalen Brunson and may lose him, and that may be an intriguing team to try to trade with if you're the Nets based on that pick. I mean that player and the ability to sign and trade him possibly in that deal. But yeah, I don't see the fit there. Him and Luka Doncic, they play at a different speed. They play at different speeds. So I just think that would be an interesting fit. Him and Joel Embiid, well, depending on what they have to give up, if I'm the Nets, I'm talking about Tyrese Maxey. And I don't think I would be able to do that if I'm Philly. I don't think so. I love Kyrie's game, but I'm going to lean on the athleticism and the youth and the projection forward of a guy like Tyrese Maxey, who's barely like 22 years old. Kyrie's in his 30s. So even though it fits my timeline, I think I would be taking a few steps in the wrong direction as it pertains to trying to keep up with what may be down the pipeline for me. If I'm Philadelphia, you want Maxey on your team. So him and Kyrie Irving together, sure they could play together, but I don't know. It's not a great fit either. So you see what I'm saying? Like some of the teams that he chose on the list are teams that he doesn't fit on, and I think he knows that. So the list is long, but it ain't actually long because those teams aren't going to be interested. So I know what that is. I know exactly what I'm looking at. I think the reality is there's probably only 2 of those teams that are realistic for him, and they're probably both in Los Angeles. The Clippers are going to want him because they're going to want to take him from us more than anything else. And the Lakers want him because we actually have the role for him and we actually have the need that he provides. So that's what I think is going to happen, man. I really believe Kyrie Irving is well on his way to the Los Angeles Lakers. I really do believe that. And if he's not going to the Lakers, he'll probably stay with the Nets, for which I don't think they want him to do at this point, if I'm being completely honest with you. Another thing I wanted to say about the KD-Kyrie thing is I think that maybe it's reasonable to think that Kyrie and KD are cool in regards to moving on now. They tried this for what? It's been 2 years. We're supposed to have Harden a part of it. Didn't work out. And I think they saw enough on the basketball floor to know that they are not the greatest fit together without certain pieces that the Nets can't bring them. This don't have to be an emotional thing for those guys necessarily at all in breaking up. It's just like when your homeboy goes to another school. It's like we're not going to stop being homies. He's just going to switch schools. So, it's one of those type of things. So I look at it like that. I don't think it's one of those situations where they have to necessarily have some situation where it's like, oh, you're leaving me. Oh, you're going to ditch me. I don't think has to be that way at all. I think this is a situation where 2 guys can reasonably sit down and say, yo, this situation that fell apart, man. Damn. If we could go somewhere else, together, it would probably work. But you know what? Let's just see if we can find better fits for ourselves. They don't have a whole lot of time left. Neither one of them in their 30s. They don't have a whole lot of time left to play basketball just to be playing. You got to find fits that work. And so I think they believe that fit will work. I think in certain situations it will. But it ain't in either one of the New York markets. The Knicks can't bring them what they need to compete with the likes of the Celtics and all those different teams. And I don't think the Nets have that ability right now at all. So the Lakers, on the other hand, you know what we have? Anthony Davis. That's literally the difference. Bron has Anthony Davis. That's why the Lakers are a more appealing spot in my mind for Kyrie Irving, because you got that big defensive anchor, Hall of Fame anchor back there. If Anthony Davis went to the Nets and they didn't lose KD, that would be the better destination than here in LeBron. So it's I just get that. I understand that fully, and so it just don't have to be emotional. You know what I'm saying? I think KD understands that situation ain't the best situation for either one of them anymore. And maybe if Kyrie leaves with the money that he would leave behind, they could bring KD the type of stuff that would make the Nets a better situation for him. So if I'm KD, I'm not worried about this. I'm not. If Kyrie's my guy, we're going to be friends after this regardless. We don't have to play basketball forever together. We just wanted to try this out, and it just didn't work out. Okay, let's move on. I don't see how that should be affecting their friendship in any way. I think that's media-driven bullcrap. So either way, it's speculation on my part as well. So we'll leave it at that. At the end of the day, I personally think both of them should get the hell out of Brooklyn, and I think Brooklyn should want them to so that they can rebuild, as I've been saying for the past several days. So here's to that, Brooklyn. Hopefully you can get that done, man, and stop holding on to something that isn't going to work for you. Honestly, it just ain't going to work, man. Trade him to us, and we will sort this out in such a way to where you can probably get Russell Westbrook's contract or the representation of what that's worth in some other player, and maybe we can send that contract to where it needs to go. But I think that should be the solution to all of our problems here. Kyrie can opt in since pretty much that decision has already been made. Once you let that be leaked to Woj, the decision's been made. I personally would advise him to still leave that decision in the Nets' hands, because if by wild chance, 1% chance, somebody bumps their head and decides, you know what, we need to give him that 5 years, you leave that opportunity right there for them to choose to make. You don't take that off the table for them by any stretch of the imagination. So this should not be taken care of before the 28th, in my opinion. But on the 28th, or whatever that day is, 29th, whatever it is, I do expect that we will hear that he has opted in, and then we'll start hearing about the negotiations that are going on behind the scenes to get him to LA. That's what I expect to hear. So what it'll take to get him here, probably more than I want to give up, but hey, I've already told y'all I'm in the accepting phase of this, and I've changed my mind about Bron, so I'm accepting that. So we're just going to go ahead and move forward with him and do what we're supposed to do to make sure that we get him what we need to win now, right now. And anything less than that is just doing the 1 foot in, 1 foot out thing, which doesn't work. So that's what I got to say. You've heard it all before. BDL44. Thank you all for watching. I'm out.